Danny, what excites you the most about reaching people in your community? What turns you on with that? What kind of gets you going with that?
Well, I think the thing that excites me more than anything is seeing somebody's life changed, somebody that is completely outside of the church world, and maybe they were raised in church, they went to church when they were a kid, and then once they got to college, they never went to church again or whatever. What really excites me is to re-engage people like that have given up on church. They think church is judgmental, it's harsh, it's cold, it's irrelevant. To be able to get a person to leave that mindset and come into a place where they see that God is real and God does care about them and there is hope for their future and that the Bible makes sense. I know a couple years ago on Easter Sunday, a couple weeks before Easter Sunday, I had been really encouraging the congregation, let's really think about our world, people that we are working with that we can invite to come Easter Sunday, invite them to come, meet them in the parking lot, walk in with them. And one couple from Salisbury, Chris and Allison, they had their little girl was taking music lessons from this piano teacher. So they invited this girl named Tiffany to come. And because they'd had a long-term relationship with him with piano lessons and all that, Tiffany and her husband came, and they were in their late 20s, and they had a couple children, and typical, college-educated couple that went to church as kids but didn't go to church since then. They walked into our Easter service, and the first thing that impressed them was not anything that happened, just the atmosphere. They saw that the church wasn't traditional looking. There was lighting, there was exciting music playing before the service, and it was packed out. There was a lot of energy there. And so they sat through and listened to the band. They weren't expecting a band. They were looking for a pipe organ and all that. So the band got them excited. Drew happened to be a musician, so he was really intrigued with the music part. And then I got up and did an Easter message that made sense to them. And really, it happened to be an Easter where we talked about how reasonable the resurrection is and how the resurrection really makes sense when you really think about it, as far as the ripple effect of how the early church was such an underdog, and yet from the power of the resurrection,
yes,
there was so much energy that this movement started and changed the world. And Drew and Tiffany were really taken back by that service. So they came the next Sunday because they really liked the first Sunday. And Drew and Tiffany told me later that they believed in evolution. They went through the whole educational process, and they weren't even sure if there was a God. They weren't atheists, but they were agnostic. They weren't sure if there was a God. But the next Sunday, I was doing a series called Desperate Households, taken off from the TV show. And we talked about family life. And Drew and Tiffany has 2 little children, and they've got marriage problems and all this. And so for the next 4 weeks, I had them hooked because I was talking about real life issues with family, and they started coming. They came to Easter, then they came through the whole Desperate Household series, and then I think the next series was on finances, and they were having trouble with finances. So I hit them really strong. We had 2 series in a row that really impacted them. And sometime during the finance series, they found the Lord. And now every Sunday when I come to church, we have 2 morning services at our main campus and another service at a different campus in the evening. Every Sunday morning when I come to church, I look across the stage and I see a young man skillfully playing the guitar on the stage, and it's Drew.
Wow.
Drew found the Lord. Now Drew has joined our band. We have multiple guitar players, and I see him every Sunday, and it just really encourages me, because that is what personally invigorates me. I always tell churches that are like praying for revival and praying for the Holy Spirit to fall and really energize their church. If you want to see your church energized, and if you want to be energized as a person, real revival comes by reaching people that are hard to reach, watching them get baptized, watching their lives change, and it will literally bring revival to your church. So revival is not about trying to get something to happen inside. Revival is about getting outside and getting those people on the outside to come in on the inside, and that brings revival.